Beyond the Beef, where we not only talk about business problems, we talk about business solutions. I'm Bob.
And I'm James.
And we're corporate facilitators for a company called Sequent Learning Networks. Every day we go into companies and listen to employees who have problems that they feel helpless to solve. We want to help employees move beyond those problems and towards solutions, not only for their companies, but for their own careers as well. So James.
Yes, sir.
What's the beef we're going to talk about today?
The beef I want to talk about today is the fact that everybody wants to be included on everything.
Everybody.
It feels like everybody wants to be on everything, right? Whether it's an email or whether it's a meeting, that they always want to be involved in these meetings, and these email chains become gigantic.
It does. And yet those same people say, I don't want the meetings to be too big. So
right. Or I have too many meetings. We'll do one on that too. But yeah.
Right. I mean, I know exactly what you're saying. I mean, we all deal with people like this, and sometimes I think we are people like this. I mean, there's somebody that, I used to work with that habitually everything that I did, why didn't you include me on that? Why didn't you CC me on that? Why wasn't I in that meeting? I would think that I should be in this meeting. I go to the bathroom, like, why didn't you include me?
You schedule meetings for that?
No, good reasons that I didn't include you in that particular meeting. But yeah, it definitely happens. And again, I think we all do it to some extent.
Sure.
Where does this thing come from? I think a lot of it comes from the fact that as human beings, we just want to be included.
Absolutely.
I mean, I have to tell you that as a kid, I might not have been the most athletic person.
Get out of here.
No, true.
Get out of here.
On the face of the planet. And, we play, I don't know why dodgeball comes to mind, but, always the last one picked.
Because you got pegged and left scars, didn't you?
No, it was terrible. Like, you pick your teams on each side. And, everybody gets picked, and I'm the last one standing.
Therapy with Bob and James.
Yeah, it seems to happen a lot.
Yeah.
But I mean, the point is that everybody wants to be picked first, of course. Absolutely. Everyone wants to be included in the crowd.
No doubt.
And I think we translate those lessons right back into business. And if you feel left out of something, you feel like, is there something wrong with me? Am I really the worst dodgeball player that ever lived?
You probably
definitely.
Yeah.
Definitely.
Yeah.
And so I think that's where some of this thing comes from. So what do you think? I mean,
I couldn't agree with you more, right? It's like
that I'm really a bad dodgeball player.
You are. Quite possibly the worst dodgeball player ever. But neither here nor there. No, but it's that outsider view, right? I'll never forget the feeling that I used to have myself when there would be a closed door meeting.
Yeah.
And you're watching, well, why wasn't I in there?
Are
they talking about me in there? Like you have all your insecurities coming out. Like, what's going on in there? Why can't I be part of that meeting?
I worked for a guy, this is kind of funny. He had an office, there was a guy that worked for him that worked right outside of his office. And he literally would do this a few times, but the first time I ever saw it was ridiculous. He said, so-and-so, come on in here, right? The guy would come in, and he'd say, close the door.
Okay.
And the guy would close the door from the inside. He said, no, from the outside. Like, he literally was calling him in because he was too lazy to get up. And then he'd proceed to have some private meeting in there.
Oh my goodness.
And the guy was like, are you serious, really? Like the worst of everything, not included. To feel like the worst.
This wasn't you, right?
No.
Okay, good.
Absolutely wasn't.
Good.
But yeah, this idea of not being included. But in business, it really can be detrimental because if you feel like you have to be included in everything, then what ends up happening is that things become really inefficient. Like
Absolutely.
A lot of people, they don't want to hurt your feelings, right? So they'll end up CCing you and inviting you to the meeting, and then you don't really have a job there. You're not adding value to it. So then, it really takes things off track.
Yeah. And you bring up a good point, right? You don't really have a job there. You don't really add any value. So I think part of this sometimes is, if you don't have a clear path of what your role is within the organization. You want to be included in everything because, hey, I may need to do this or that. I don't want to let any balls drop, but I don't have the clarity to know, what, this meeting I do need to be in, this one I don't.
Exactly.
Because this one is related to my job and this one isn't. Relating back to, the old person you used to work with, you talked about, wanted to be in everything.
Yeah.
That person probably didn't have a good feel for what their role was at that point in time. So they need to be in everything so that they can, maybe not let any balls drop.
Yeah, that's right. And I think that is the solution. So we have to move towards a solution here. And the solution is, or one of them at least, is everyone has these insecurities. These are human feelings that we have. And in companies, if we want to get past that, we really have to make sure that people understand what roles they play, what roles they should play, what roles they shouldn't play, and where they add value so that that isn't something I should be included in because it's not my job to do that. Now, that said, there's another piece of this thing that kind of bothers me about that solution is if you make the roles too clear, then you become siloed, right? I'm
Absolutely.
sure we're going to hit on silos in a future episode at some point. But we definitely don't want it to be so clear that we have this over-the-wall thinking, like, that's not my job. Well, that's not my job. And so therefore, no one's working together. So I want to put on the table that role clarity is key, but you also have to make sure that you know what common goals you're all working towards, right? Every role contributes to a common goal, and you have to make sure that that's well understood and well defined so that collaboration happens.
Yeah, and I think there's a leadership aspect to this too.
Absolutely.
Right? So 2 things that I'll say on that is, A, going on to your collaboration piece, you don't need to be involved in every meeting, but it's up to the leaders too, maybe your boss or whatnot, to make sure that those conversations are happening so that everybody understands what's happening around as well.
Absolutely.
So that it's not just here. And that collaboration is part of leadership's responsibility.
What a leader
as well.
will do, a good leader will bring everyone together towards a common goal while still making sure everybody understands what they should be doing and the value that they bring. Absolutely. So I think that that's a really good way to end this episode.
Agreed.
So I hope that you've gotten something out of this. We appreciate you tuning in. As always, if you have something that's on your mind, a beef that you want us to talk about in a future episode, be sure to leave it in the comments. Also, be sure to subscribe to our channel. We'd love to have you as a subscriber. And thank you once again for tuning in. Hope to see you next time on
Beyond the Beef.
Oh, I took you off the greatest ending in the world.
The greatest ending in the world.
Greatest one. Oh,
because you started it. Of course, it was going to be the greatest ending.
I was going to finish it, but thanks.
Thank you.
Bye.
Bye.
Welcome to Beyond the Beef, where we not only talk about companies' problems,
It's business problems.
I know. That's why I stopped.
It's late. It is late. We are laughing.
Also, it's hard for me to concentrate with you sitting there like this.